Hello everybody out there, it's me, GhostCritic, with his Friday comic book review video upload. If you watched my video on Wednesday, you'll already know what treats are coming up in store. If not, well, there's no real point in going back to watch Wednesday's videos. You might as well stick around and see them here. There were some interesting comics this week. I have 5 to review, so let's get on with it. Let's kick off with Trillium, issue 8 of 8. This is the conclusion to Jeff Lemire's sci-fi love story. And personally, I found this pretty disappointing. I don't know what happened with Lemire as this title neared its conclusion, but the last few issues, they've been neither here nor there, and I don't know whether it's that Lemire kind of got bogged down with the style of it all rather than the storyline, or maybe he just wasn't given enough issues to tell the story he actually wanted, because there are a lot of threads left hanging really by the end of this issue. We left them last month with the kind of plague spaceship coming down on the planet, with seemingly, you know, they're not going to escape, it's too late, they haven't got enough time, and they spend needless amount of time and pages discussing who's going to go, how are they going to get off the planet, and they eventually, with minutes to spare, leave on the ship that holds the remaining population in cryostasis, while the ship will orbit and find a planet that can suit their needs. Lemire starts veering off into this kind of sci-fi black hole, alternate dimensions maybe, kind of gubbins to kind of wrap this all up, and it has, like I say, one of these kind of open endings. Not that I think we're ever going to come back to the world of Trillium. I think this is just a case of did they survive, have they survived, but there was so much more that could have been done with this. I mean, whatever happened to all the kind of alien type creatures we saw at the beginning? Nika's kind of, I don't know whether it was a hallucination, but all the kind of pyramids that the temples she saw in her dream hallucination, they're kind of washed over with the paintbrush basically, and we don't really get any, not that I really necessarily needed it, but firm answers, and a lot of things get pushed to the wayside, and it just made the end of this fall flat. It wasn't the exciting climax it should have been. It was your kind of bog standard, we'll escape just in the nick of time, but oh no, we may have to make a sacrifice. Who is it going to be? Who's going to leave the other? Shall we just both leave and save the population of the spaceship? And then the thing that annoys me the most is, you know, this was meant to be, and it was kind of, the tagline was, the last love story ever told. Now, we didn't really ever get a love story per se. There was inklings of it as the issues progressed, and it's only really now with this issue, the final one, that they kind of tell each other how much they mean to each other, and that I think this was fate and it was meant to be, despite, you know, the time, the universe span between them. But it can't be the last love story ever told, and once you've read the ending, you'll understand why that can't be. Now on to an infinitely superior sci-fi tale from Rick Remender. It's issue 5 of Black Science. We had our group of scientists taking a well-deserved break on this seemingly peaceful planet world. Grant reunited with his children, and at the same time trying to figure out who has sabotaged this pillar that helps them travel between these dimensions, planets. And just as we kind of think we're going to move on to the next dimension, the pillar is finally fixed, or as far as it can be. You may remember at the end of last issue we had a masked figure looming in the distance of this city that they are resting in. The identity of that masked figure has already been revealed. Let's just say that we're talking about timelines here, which may give you a little clue as to who it is. What we get from is our masked, or now unmasked, person kidnaps Grant's children, and we get this wonderful kind of chase scene that wouldn't be kind of out of place in a Star Wars movie. It's a lot of fun, it's very dynamic. Grant eventually catches up with our kidnapper, and he kind of becomes pretty arrogant here. This person tells Grant that, you know, he has to stop doing this. He has to let him take the children, because if he continues doing what he's doing, the kids will die. It doesn't matter in what dimension that these people go to, it always ends the same, and that is his children die. And the only way to stop this is if you let me take them. But Grant is having none of it, and they eventually get back to the pillar, which fortunately is just about to kind of move them on to the next dimension planet. But just before they go, the identity is revealed to Grant of who the saboteur is, which we already know is Kadir. But why we've really not delved into just yet. I love the look of this new dimension planet place that they've gone to. You can see on the cover some of the kind of creatures, animals that they are going to meet. It looks very, very cool, and this is just a very cool comic. If you're really a fan of the kind of sci-fi genre, that, like I said, there are a lot of kind of Star Warsy type elements to this, with your kind of crazy alien characters that you may only see for like a page and never see again, just like you see a character in Star Wars in the background, but they are so fully realised that it just makes the world that you're reading about that much more real. Great title, pick it up. Right, let's continue with Green Hornet issue 11, the Mark Waid pen story. I don't know whether, because this is the penultimate part of what, I don't know, is it the last of this storyline? Is there going to be something else after it? Or is this just like a 12-issue kind of maxi series? Not really looked that far ahead, but this is the last but one part. Green Hornet has gathered around all the heads of all the gangs that came under Vito Sorelli, who he's just killed. And he's very cleverly using them to get to the Germans, who are kind of like the big evil behind everything that has been going on for so many months. In this issue, though, it's not so much the clever way that Green Hornet has used these gang members to do what is essentially good deeds. Because what we've had throughout this story is Green Hornet's balance of being a good guy and making sure that the bad guy thinks he's a bad guy. And this culminates to a very tragic end in many ways for a couple of the characters, not least Lieutenant Duggan, who is actually, or was, one of the kind of innocent, non-corruptible cops that there was on the force at the time. But when Green Hornet got his claws into him, Lieutenant Duggan's he's kind of lost it to some degree. And Fulton's daughter gets caught in the crossfire of Green Hornet's big plans as well. There is a heavy stamp in here about how much good and how much Green Hornet is doing, that actually it's okay when all this tragedy, so to speak, is affecting the bad guys, but when innocent people get embroiled in it and lose their minds, lose their lives, has the Green Hornet gone too far? I've really enjoyed Green Hornet this run for my first foray into the Green Hornet universe. So I hope it is going to go on for a lot longer. We get some sort of redemptive ending for Green Hornet, so he can go on and just be what he's meant to be, and that is, you know, a hero. And with Swamp Thing issue 30, Charles Soule gives us yet another really good, solid issue with lots to get our teeth into and to think about too. Oh, guess what? The Serene from last issue, they weren't really the Serene, they were imposters. Didn't see that. We have them whisking Swamp Thing's body away to some unknown destination to experiment and dissect on, hence this cover on the front. We have Capuchin catching up with Wolf and Lady Weeds, getting them back to the homestead of Swamp Thing, only to find that it has been partially burnt down. There is a naked body lying in the grounds nearby, which of course is now Alec Holland in the body. Now he's kind of transferred his being into this host body. Unfortunately, being in this host body, it doesn't last long and it is going to burn out. So now we have this kind of chase to hunt down back his body. A guest appearance to help out in this, Vandal Savage. So they make a trip to India because that's where they think they're going to find answers, where Swamp Thing's body's going to be, but they find something and more intriguing information than they were expecting. Along the way, Alec in his new body meets a young lady who is not quite what she appears to be on face value. And it makes an interesting ending on what is actually inside her. We have an interesting scene where we have these kind of disembodied voices watching down and talking while Swamp Thing is being dissected and parts of him being cut off and eviscerated, I'd say. We don't know who they are, though the name Norrin is mentioned, but it makes for an intriguing plot line. Who are these people that have taken Swamp Thing, who have kidnapped him to experiment on? Great issue as always, pick this up. It's good. Okay, let's give top billing the final issue to Batman Detective issue 30. Not necessarily because it was the best of the pile this week, but it certainly was sort of a breath of fresh air for this title. Of course, we've got new creative team Manapul and Buccioletto from the New 52 Flash fame coming off of that. So we certainly have a different style of storytelling and artwork going on here. Though the story itself isn't exactly original as yet. Even though, you know, the first double splash page tells us it's a new start, we do kind of go into familiar territory. Now, while our kind of villain isn't particularly of a meta variety, this isn't one of his rogues gallery, Manapul is kind of bringing, in some respects, Batman back down to earth, fighting against a kind of drug trafficking gang that used kids as runners, and he smashes in his own inimitable style to break up this kind of den, this headquarters of a gang, to save some kids. There's a nice very action-packed bicycle chase, which unfortunately he does kind of lose them, but you know, he takes a few down along the way. The second half of it, we turn to the Bruce Wayne persona, and it is again familiar territory. Bruce, rather than giving his money away to have the kind of Gotham East End waterfront developed commercially, he's decided to buy the whole waterfront and help Elena Aguila. Sorry, Elena, who wants to, she wants to do good things for the people who live there, with kind of drug and education centres, medical clinics and the like. And you know, Bruce could make billions from it commercially, but you know, he's that humanitarian at heart, and he wants to do what's good for the people of Gotham. And it basically introduces this new character. We get a little bit about her background, and this kind of leads to the kind of culmination of this issue, with Bruce kind of moping about Robin, his son Damien dying, fixing up this bike that he's clearly never going to use because he's dead. But there is this interesting interspersing panels as he's talking, and it's very clever because I don't know about you, but I kind of guessed, or I thought that it was going to be Manapul's favourite speedster suddenly appearing, because the way it's shown, it's very very clever, but had me fooled. This kind of figure that's making its way to Wayne Manor is not who you think it is, and rather tragically so, it would appear, for one character that we've seen earlier on in this issue. Like I said, this is a nice fresh start for our new creative team. Fresh colours on the front. You're not going to miss this on the shelves. I think it is going to be worth a pick up. This is bringing Batman, kind of, like I said, back to his roots, with beating up gangs rather than beating up on his villainous rogues gallery. And there we have it. Those are the comics for this week. Thank you for watching. If this is your first time here, you liked what you saw, please hit the subscribe button and give it a big thumbs up. and we love to see some comments in the box below. I'll try and reply to as many as possible. Let me know what you thought of Batman Detective 30. Did you... I mean, I enjoyed it. It might not have been particularly original, but I'm sure you'll have lots of thoughts on that issue too. Take care until next week. I will see you then. Bye bye.